Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia and welcome back to Overwatch, and a happy new year to you all. It is the 1st of January 2020, a new decade, and the same old Overwatch. Let's be honest. Anyway, today we are going to have a look at 5 things we are going to put on the wish list for Overwatch for 2020. Now, obviously Overwatch had some big announcements last year with Overwatch 2, with the big balance update near the end of the year and whatnot. So now we need to take that a step further and say, what do we need to see in 2020 to make sure Overwatch stays in good health and Overwatch progresses throughout the year? So the first we're going to look at is nerfing Orisa and perhaps Baptiste as well. Two of the strongest heroes, if not the strongest heroes in the game right now. And let's be honest, Orisa, there was a move to counter Orisa in the last patch, Breakable Barriers patch, which was in December, but it's kind of not worked. Orisa is still the best tank in the game. She's just a different style now than she was. He's more brawly because of her Fortify being buffed and her barrier being nerfed. So I think we need to see some changes to Orisa to make her slightly less of a crucial must pick right now. When you look at Orisa, especially at the highest level, she's much like Mercy was back in the new Mercy days, if you see what I mean. So when she had that insta-res, it's kind of like, that's kind of what Orisa is now. Orisa at the top level at the moment is looking like a must pick, because even when people run dive, they're running a dive Orisa hybrid. They're still running Orisa. You can't get away from her at the moment at the top level of play. So I think there's definitely a need for Orisa to be looked at. The thing is with Orisa, she's very Marmite. The thing is, she's very actually interesting to play at the moment with her brawly style. But as soon as you go and nerf Fortify, I think she's gonna plummet. I think she really will plummet. And if you take her back to what she was before, she's very boring to play. So Orisa's a very difficult hero to balance. A very, very difficult hero to balance in terms of being fun to play, but also not being ridiculously OP. So that's a difficult one to say. Baptiste, there are certainly things you can do there. And the thing is with Baptiste is, perhaps Baptiste is a beneficiary of the meta right now. With Orisa and such, and spam meta, I think Baptiste is very much a beneficiary of the meta, but I do think that his damage output for a support is a little too much with the amount of healing he does as well. So I think Baptiste does need to be looked at as well. So a January patch just before the Overwatch League is what I'm saying here. And it goes into another point we're going to go on to now, which is reverting the GOATS balance changes that we had during the GOATS meta in 2019. Now, what I mean by that is some heroes were buffed intentionally to counter GOATS. I'm talking about Mei, I'm talking about Reaper. McCree was buffed to counter GOATS, but I'm not too worried about McCree right now. Hanzo, for example, his damage output was buffed. And these heroes have become incredibly strong. I mean, those 3 heroes, Mei, Reaper and Hanzo, I've just quoted meta heroes right now in the DPS category because their buffs weren't taken away from them. Lucio had a nerf during GOATS to nerf his speed to try and stop GOATS being so mobile as a death ball comp. Lucio had that reverted. His speed has been increased now that GOATS is literally impossible to play on ladder and in quick play, or normal quick play anyway. This needs to happen, but the reverse for some heroes. Mei's multi-person freeze needs to go. That definitely needs to go, and she needs her sustain nerfed. Reaper needs his sustain nerfed. He just gets out way too easily at the moment. It's a struggle to get him punished. At the high level, it's not too bad. The main problem at all levels of the game right now, I think, is Mei. Mei is a major issue. And then Hanzo, with barriers being nerfed, Hanzo, his shield break has always been amazing since his storm arrows, but now he is so good. And he obviously has that one-pick potential, that one-shot pick potential like Widowmaker does in some respects. Although it is harder to hit Hanzo's one shot, he can still do it, and his damage output just, I believe, is a little bit too much. So I would like to see, to encompass those 2 points, a big patch, like we had Breakable Barriers this January, to nerf Orisa and Bap, and then just ring these heroes back, Mei, Reaper, and Hanzo, and then see where we are. Because I think if that happens, we might be in the best place in terms of balance we have been in, perhaps in the history of the game, which would be very, very impressive. So, moving on, we have another talk about balance and meta, and this is Dive, and more importantly, D.Va. D.Va is the worst tank in the game right now. She is an ultimate battery, much like Roadhog. The thing is with Roadhog has very effective sustain and very effective damage output. D.Va doesn't have that. Not anymore. Even with her micro missile, she struggles to eliminate... So when D.Va didn't have micro missiles, she was a peel tank. She used to peel for her supports and to protect them, because we were heavily in dive, right? And dive was eliminate supports basically, so D.Va would peel for those supports. Then she was given micro missiles, and she became more of an assassin tank. The thing is, she can't be that assassin tank anymore because she can't kill the back line like she used to be able to. Zen isn't really meta, so there isn't a really squishy target. Also, you've had the introduction of things like Batiste, which just completely shut down D.Va in terms of that dive kill sort of thing. And this comes into a conversation about dive in general. I think people would like to see a bit of a resurgence of dive. Now, if we were to get a resurgence of dive, unless they buff D.Va or change D.Va in some way, because I really don't know how to bring D.Va back from where she is right now. She is definitely the worst tank in the game. And to bring D.Va back, I think she needs a radical change. And the reason I say this is because D.Va, when you look at the abilities D.Va has got, like Defense Matrix and such, all those abilities have kind of been taken over by other heroes. So Sigma's got an ability, the Suck, that basically can do what D.Va's Defense Matrix does, just on a smaller scale. So yeah, it's a trade-off, but it's something Sigma does better than D.Va, and he has a better toolkit than D.Va, because he has the Rock Stun and he has the Barrier. Then we look at Batiste. Batiste can support the supports, if you see what I mean, in terms of keeping them alive. So you don't need a peel tank anymore like D.Va used to be. So what role does D.Va fulfill? She can't assassin, she can't protect all that well now, or doesn't need to protect all that well now, so she's just kind of this big mech running around with not much to do. And that is a big issue for D.Va right now. And I don't know how you solve that, because you're not going to remove Immortality Field, you're not going to remove Sigma's Suck. So how do you solve that? Doing something to D.Va, give her something else. Maybe even so far as a rework. And there's another hero that could do with an overhaul, and that's Soldier 76 as well. So definitely big inquests into D.Va and Soldier 76 are needed in this year, because they are in very bad places right now. And I think in general we'd all like to see a bit of a rejuvenation of dive, but we won't see that until we get the nerfs to Mei and Orisa and such, because dive just doesn't compete with those heroes right now. And then we move on to the last 2 points I want to make. First of all is a new hero. So we didn't get a new hero at BlizzCon. We were kind of teased that, if you see what I mean, with the announcement of Overwatch 2. We know that Sojourn is going to be an Overwatch 2 hero, so we know that basically that's out of the question. We have not heard anything on Echo though. So my question is, who is going to be the next hero, and when is the next hero going to come out? Because we have seen that Jeff said, or not just Jeff, but a lot of the people on the Overwatch team have said that there is at least one hero coming before the release of Overwatch 2. The problem is, we don't know when Overwatch 2 is releasing. So I have a worrying feeling that we're not going to know too much. I don't want to say know too much about Overwatch 2, but I'm worried that we're not going to see Overwatch 2 this year. Because a lot of people were saying in the press like packets at BlizzCon, they were saying come back next year for more information. Well, that kind of tells me come back next year for a release date, and detailed information on the game. In that case, you're holding out for either a BlizzCon or 2021 release of Overwatch 2. And if we only get one hero between now and then, oh boy, we're struggling for content, aren't we? So, you know, Hero 32 must be there somewhere. We don't know whether it's Echo, but we'd like some information. We'd like some information, and we'd like to know some sort of timescale. Just tell us, Blizzard. And this leads me on to the last point, and that's giving us detailed information and updates on Overwatch 2. You said at BlizzCon last year, you're going dark to concentrate on Overwatch 2, or going much darker than usual. And that's fair play. I understand that the team are going to have a lot of split attention right now with Overwatch 2 and then the balance on normal Overwatch. The thing is, just keep us informed. Don't just go all dark on us, don't tell us anything, because then the whole community will get frustrated with not only a lack of content, but a lack of information regarding future content. And that's never a great place to be. What I would love for Blizzard to do is give us, you know, we get dev updates for Overwatch. Give us dev updates for Overwatch 2 before its release. Just say, well, we're at this stage of development, blah, 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 blah. We won't get impatient as long as we know what's going on. Or I won't anyway. But if we go all the way through, or through a lot of this year, with not only no updates on Heroes, but also no updates on Overwatch 2, we're starved of content and we're left in the dark. And I pray that Blizzard will just communicate. They haven't always been the best at communicating, but in this situation I hope they will, because everyone's hyped for Overwatch 2. I don't think there's a lot of people that aren't hyped for Overwatch 2. I am absolutely ready to cover Overwatch 2. And I would have loved to have been at BlizzCon to play that preview of Overwatch 2. It looked fantastic. And I just hope that Blizzard just give us little snippets, little teasers, little bits of information leading into Overwatch 2, or just to keep us updated on what's going on with the devs. And then obviously Hero 32, please. Please, 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 please. And then we go back to the balance things. And to be quite honest, I can't moan about Blizzard's balance at the moment, simply because we got that massive balance patch that we needed. The thing is, we do need another one. We do need another one for the DPS right now, especially, and Orisa. But that's kind of the wish list for 2020 right now. There's things we can add on to this and take away from this as the year goes on. But at the start of the year, I wanted to look at Overwatch and say, what do we need and what do we want now? And what we want is Blizzard not to just cut us out of the loop and not tell us what's going on. A balance patch to sort out some, unfortunately, quite overpowered heroes. And just another hero. Another hero, hopefully fairly soon. I'm not going to start talking about events because we know what's going to happen with the events. They are going to be repeated. Because that is something we've been warned about and something that's been going on for the past couple of years anyway. So I'm not going to go on about, I hope we get this new brawl, a new brawl at this event, blah, blah, blah. I hope we get Hammond Bowling on the Summer Games, because I'd love to see Hammond Bowling, don't get me wrong. But it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen because Overwatch 2 is coming and that's what they're putting all their content into right now. But I'm going to leave it here for this one. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then!